Hello! Welcome back to the Knit Song Podcast. My name is Audrey and this is my podcast where I chat about what I'm knitting, crocheting, sewing, sometimes yarn I'm dyeing, sometimes other crafts that I'm jumping into, but this is where I chat about my creative life. And welcome! I hope you are well today. It is May 20th, 2020, and I'm coming to you from Utah on a beautiful springy, if not very windy day. Yes, so if this is your first time dropping by the podcast, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. And hello again. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I have some fun finished objects to share and works in progress, and yeah, I am excited to chat with you today. I should mention, in the past couple episodes, I've forgotten to mention my contact information, but on Ravelry, I am Katknitss, and on Instagram, I knit a little song, and I always forget to mention that, so there you go. But anyway, that's who I am and where you can find me, and today I am going to start with finished objects, and I'm wearing it. I'm wearing the bigger finished object. I have a couple. But I finished my Whitmoor sweater. Yay! You can see the sleeves. I will stand up and everything. I'm so excited. This is by Amy Lowden. The pattern is by Amy Lowden, and I knit this out of a yarn, an acrylic yarn that I got from Hobby Lobby. I mentioned before, this was my first acrylic sweater, and it actually turned out pretty nice. Let me stand up and show you. But here is what we've got. I love it. I knit the bishop sleeve option, and if I'm standing straight, sorry, it's hard to show you. If I'm standing straight, it does come a little bit lower, but I really love it. So you can see it goes well with blue jeans, and I did knit the cuff a little bit long, and I knit it a little bit tighter because I like to be able, I love the shape of that, it's so fun. But I like to be able to pull up my sweaters and have them stay. So that does the trick. So yeah, I'm finally done with it. I will say this sweater came out in February, and most people that cast it on that month finished it a month ago. And so yes, I am a little bit of a slower knitter, and I think that I am okay with that. And I think that that's because I don't knit monogamously. I tend to knit on whatever I feel like at the time. So yeah, I'm super excited to be done with it and to wear it. It's been really easy as far as today wearing it. Weather-wise, it's like 70, 71 in our house, and because of this lace pattern, and because I did this with an acrylic kind of fingering / sport weight yarn, it's really breezy and cool, so my hope that it would wear well in warmer weather is so far so good. So that's great, and I'm excited. Anyway, I paired it with just a kind of blush colored tank top underneath, and so far that looks really good. The other night I FaceTimed my mom when I finished it because I was so excited, and I had a hot pink tank top on, and then I put this on over, and it wasn't doing justice to the color, this more neutral blush color, and I told her, I was like, it'll look so much better when I have a different color underneath. So yeah. So far, so good. I'm really loving wearing it today. It's my first day wearing my sweater. And yes, I am so happy with this finished object. I should mention, I am planning another one already. And that one I am going to do with wool and fingering weight and mohair held together, which is how the pattern is written. Well, it's written for DK or fingering weight and mohair together, I think. So anyway, I'm going to make a warmer fall and winter version, and I'm thinking like a dove gray would be really pretty with this pattern. I love this motif. This lace pattern is just great because it's just flattering. It like, I feel like it draws attention to your face, but it's also adds a lot of interest to just the body of the sweater as well. So huge fan, and I'm done. It's a finished sweater. Anyway, so excited. So, yeah, that's finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is much tinier. But I showed on my phone a picture of a Bluebird of Happiness that I had knit and given to a dear friend of mine. And I couldn't help but knit myself one. And here it is. Isn't it cute? So here's little birdie, birdie number 2. And I love this pattern so much. Yeah, I think this is the one, this is the first time that this is my second one, and I knit this all yesterday afternoon. So it was so great because I had been wanting to do this for like a week, and then finally cast it on and thought, oh, I'll probably finish it in a couple days. But I was able to do it in one night. So that's great. Let me talk about this gorgeous yarn. This is from the yarn directly above me. This is from a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friend of mine. And it's exciting because she's going to be starting to sell her yarn. She's opening up shop soon. Her name is Alexis, and I think her yarn company is going to be called Hook and Grow. She is an amazing crocheter and an amazing yarn dyer now too. And she gave me this beautiful yarn. I think this is the Tropical Breeze colorway. So more to come soon on her yarn and her yarn shop. And yeah, I'm excited about things with her because we have talked about doing some collaborations and some fun stuff. So you'll hear more about Hook and Grow for sure. Anyway, gorgeous yarn, such a cute pattern. I knit this exactly to pattern. Last time, the picture I showed you, I knit some wings and added some stitching to the tail. I think I am going to give this little girl wings. I guess I've decided it's a girl. I think I'm going to do purple. I don't know. But the pattern, as it's written, just goes, you do the head to the tail and then, neck to the tail and then add the head. And it doesn't have wings or anything like that. But I added wings and some tail decoration to my last one just to make it more personalized. And I think I might add on to this one. But it's a great pattern and they look so cute by themselves. I will also say, I'm thinking these are going to be such cute Christmas ornaments. So I was thinking if I knit a few of these, we've got, what, 7 months left till Christmas again? I could probably get a bunch of these done. I mean, I just said they took an afternoon and an evening. So if I did 2 a month or so, I could have like 14 of these puppies for my tree next year. So I'm thinking of doing the just a chain stitch that makes a loop out of it and doing a bunch of different colors. This took hardly any yarn. So I'm thinking this would be such a fun, scrappy project to do throughout the rest of the year and have some awesome Christmas ornaments by the time the tree goes up. And I'm thinking, yeah, now I'm really thinking about doing that seriously. Anyway, my brain is just in a happy creative place, and so I'm already thinking and planning next projects with these. But I'm probably going to knit a lot more of these, is all I'm saying. They're so cute. Anyway, the Bluebird of Happiness is the pattern. It is free on Ravelry, and I'm a fan. So yes, I'm going to talk now. Those are my only finished objects, because I had this whole right sleeve to do since the last time I podcast, because I think it was like right here. So this took a lot of my time in the past couple weeks. But I don't know about you, but when I finish a big project, I always have this surge of like all the new cast-ons and things that I want to make. And it's like this surge of creative energy happens. And so I think that I've heard people talk about how basically, we have limited space in our minds, and so when something is unfinished and it's taking up a lot of space, that's space being taken up that other things can't do. Anyway, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but to me, I feel like when I finish a big project, it's like I feel this area just cleaned and dusted up, and now I'm creative again and ready to cast on all the things. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm feeling very liberated from having a big thing on the needles, and I'm ready to make lots of little things. So yes, works in progress today. I have made some progress on my August hat, which is a pattern by Sarah Solomon. I showed this last episode. I've made a little bit of progress. Last time I showed, I had done my first Latvian braid, and now I am into the color work section and enjoying it a lot. So you can see what I have so far. It's really curling, sorry about that. Yeah, so this is the brim of the hat, and it's got a great color work pattern, and then you get to another Latvian braid and a different color work pattern. So I'll show it up closer. I'm really enjoying this. These are both DK weight yarns. I'm knitting these on ChowGoo's size 4, 3.5 millimeter. And the tension is really good. I like 3.5s in DK for hats. It gives a good dense fabric that keeps it pretty warm and toasty on the inside. I'll show the yarn again. It's gorgeous Legacy Fiber Artz yarn. We think you're peachy keen. And a navy blue Hikoo yarn. Simplicity by Hikoo, I think. Or Hikoo by Simplicity. I get those mixed up. And here's a picture of the hat. So I'm about halfway through the color work in the first section. So hopefully that will grow a little bit. I don't know what else to say about this one other than it's just a lot of fun. It does take more focus having the color work. So it grows slower because when I'm watching something, it's not good TV knitting because it takes a lot of brain power for me to do new color work patterns, but it's tons of fun. And so when I've got a little bit of brain power to spare, I'm really enjoying it. Oh, I really love the contrast between these two yarns too. That's going to be really fun. I think that's going to make a nice hat. Make a cool headband too. Anyway, loving this project. Another free pattern on Ravelry. And this is the August hat by Sarah Solomon. So, yeah. I don't know. I have days where I feel in the mood for color work and days where I don't feel so in the mood for color work. I think that's normal. So, yeah. Work in progress number 2. I haven't shown these for a while because I'm not making huge progress, but I did knit. I have my finished sock of just a plain vanilla sock with my City Lights by Homespun House and Patronus by Dragon Hoard Yarn colorways. First sock done, and I have worked on the second one, but it's just the beginning of the next sock. So hopefully these will be finished soon because I really love them and want to wear them. Yes, but I haven't made a ton of progress, but I thought I'd show them. Something I've finally started doing, I know almost everybody that I see who knits socks does this, and I don't know why I'm so late to the party, but I've actually finally started marking every 10 rows with a marker. And it's so nice not to have to go back and count. I don't know why I've been making life difficult on myself. I'm weird that way. Certain things, there are easier ways to do them than I do them, but I'm so stubborn, I don't change and I do them the hard way. And I'm learning in life to do less of that. Learn from other people and do what works. So, yeah. Cute little walrus making an appearance again. I always say how much I love this guy. So cute. And I really love this bag. Oh boy, that makes me want to talk about sewing, but I'll get there in the sewing segment. Anyway, whip number 2, plain vanilla socks. Okay, whip number 3. This is the one that has my heart today. I'm so excited. Yesterday, I bought the Sea Glass Racerback Tank Top pattern on Ravelry by Meghan Regan, whose podcast, Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits, is one of my favorites. I love Meg. She's lovely. And I've wanted to knit this tank top since she put the pattern out, and I just haven't gotten around to it. And I think, like I said, seasonally, I'm real picky about, I don't know. I'm just weird. I'm not motivated to knit wintry things normally in the summer, and I'm not motivated to knit summery things in the winter. I'm trying to just enjoy what I like, but I also really understand how long it takes me to do stuff. So I'm trying to calibrate for that. Anyway, I always talk about that little weird pet peeve of mine. But it's getting warmer. I want to have more tank tops in my life because it gets pretty warm here. And I got the pattern and I knit my gauge swatch. So the yarn that I'm going to be using is some yarn that I've had in my stash that I have been really eyeing for a while. It is by Hoard Yarn, who is Tristan, who is a dear friend and so creative, and I love her yarns. This is How Far I'll Go, and this is a colorway. This was, I think, the first colorway I ever bought from her. And knit a gauge swatch, love the yarn, and I've done my yarn math. My gauge is bigger than what's recommended, and so I've done the multiplication and division to figure out at this gauge, because I like this fabric that I got, at this gauge what size I should knit, and I think I've figured it out. And so this afternoon I'm casting it on, and I'm so excited to do that. So I'm using Hikoo needles. Boy, can you see a theme with all the peach? I love peach. Hikoo needles in 4mm, and I have this much of a skein left from socks that I knit. Some little short socks that I knit for my mom. So I don't know how many grams this is. I think it's a little more than half of the skein. So I'm going to say 60-ish grams. And then I have this one that has not been opened yet. And it's so fluffy and wonderful. Anyway, so it's the size that I'm knitting, I think, calls for 2 skeins of fingering weight. So I'm playing yarn chicken from the get-go, but that's okay because let me show you the pattern. Oh my goodness, my brain. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The pattern is a Racerback Tank, and it has a lace section at the bottom. So let me show you what it looks like if you haven't seen it. And it looks like this, and it has this lace section at the bottom. Whoops, sorry. Reflections of the windows. Another picture from Ravelry. This is a really cute one too. And I'm thinking if I run out, I can just fade it into what I have left from the Patronus colorway and then do the lace section in that blue. So I'll show you what I mean. I think I've got enough left of this colorway. I've got at least a half a skein left of this, and I've knit these two. I originally bought these two together. These are the two that I got together. So if I run out of How Far I'll Go, I'm just going to finish the rest with the Patronus. So I think it's going to be super cute. So I'm super excited to get that on the needles today. I'm really happy I took a gauge swatch because I feel like Lloyd Christmas. I was way off. I think I had 3.5 stitches more than what was recommended. So for every 4 inches, that's an extra 3.5 stitches. So I did the multiplication and I figured it out. And I'm actually going 2 whole sizes down because my gauge is so much bigger. So gauge swatch, I know It's sometimes hard because you just want to get started. And I even washed and blocked this. So it's a real gauge swatch. Well, it's not technically tall enough to be. I don't know. Anyway, I got gauge going this way, and then I got an estimate of gauge because it was supposed to be 4 inches by 4, and I got 2 by 4 because I'm not as worried about the vertical stitch count. Anyway, all I mean is I'm really glad that I washed it and blocked it because it was I grew an extra stitch just in the washing, and it wasn't a vigorous blocking, but just letting the yarn grow and dry flat, I gained an extra stitch just in 4 inches. So worth the time. I have knit things that I don't wear because I didn't gauge properly and I knit them too small or too big. So anyway, so worth it. But yeah, so that's going on the needles today. Excited. So that's my 3rd work in progress. And I think that is almost all I've got for today. Yeah, I think so. I did want to talk about some of the comments from last episode. We were chatting about the berry stitch cardigan that I'm going to be knitting. I haven't purchased the yarn for it yet, but I think I've decided on a color. Sorry, I'm growing out my bangs, and they just, if you've grown out bangs, you know what I mean. Anyway, they can be difficult. Yeah, so I picked a color. I think I'm going to be knitting the berry stitch cardigan in a cranberry, or I'm going to be looking for like a cranberry red. Not on the maroon side of cranberry, but like a true cranberry red. I think that would look so good. Where is my pattern? Anyway, it's in the last episode, but basically it's that vintage waist length sweater, and I'm going to order yarn for that soon, but haven't done that yet, but I'm looking forward to casting that on as well. Normally I show some sewing, but my sewing has come to a standstill, and I will explain why very succinctly. My order for batting was canceled. I thought it was canceled in the sense that once the store received it again, that they would reactivate the order and send it. And it's my fault for not reading the whole email. But they just canceled the order completely because they didn't have that part. They had some of the other things I ordered, but not that part. So I was waiting for batting to be refreshed in their inventory that was for an order that was no longer active. So I reordered batting, and now I think it's on its way. So then I can finish, or no, not finish, start. I want to start them so bad. Start my Pride and Prejudice project bags. And I showed this a few episodes ago. This is the Pemberley fabric line, and just has little places from Pride and Prejudice. So it sits here. I look at it every day on my sewing machine, and I'm so excited to work with it. But my batting will not be here for another few days. So no sewing to show because I don't have my batting yet. And that's my fault because I could have ordered it. Also, I did finish the second piece, or the second half of my bag that I'm going to do, my scrappy bag. But I also need batting for this, so this is on hold until that order comes. So I hopefully will get that and be able to have more sewing time this week. But that is my sewing segment, brief as it is, because I didn't read the whole email and my order was canceled for what I needed. Yeah. So those, I think, are all the creative things I have. I mentioned the berry stitch cardigan. I'm going to be ordering that yarn. And for sewing, that's pretty much it. Oh, I'm going to circle back. I mentioned for the berry stitch cardigan, it's a vintage pattern from 1953. And so last podcast, I put it out there for comments for people to talk about if they had one era from the 1900s to live in, as far as like fashion and style, what would they choose? And I've been thinking about this a lot and enjoying the comments that we got. It was fun to see a lot of people liked 40s and 50s. I know Fontrella, I think that's what you said. And then Naomi and Zoe from the Yarn Curator and Felicity Yarn Company, I think I might have mixed their names with that, who both have lovely podcasts, by the way, and I've so been into watching their episodes. I'll put them in the description box below. But they were mentioning their favorites as well. And so one had 60s and 70s as their favorite, and the other had 40s and 50s, and mentioned that the 20s and 30s didn't have very figure flattering lines, and that is so true. I think 20s fashion is so specific that way. Everything was so straight up and down. So curvier figures, it would have been hard to I don't know. I don't think I would have, my hips would not have worked well in the 20s. So, but yeah, I enjoyed those comments. I was talking about it with my cousin on text and my mom. We chatted about it a lot too. And so it's been kind of fun. But in this week or two of mulling over what my favorite era would be, I think I've actually realized that I think I prefer the 1940s styles to the 50s. And I've always thought that the 50s were kind of my go-to. But a couple things. I love the softness of the hairstyles in the 40s. Things are a little bit looser and longer, and in the 50s you get real short baby bangs that are kind of hard to wear, and hair is just a little bit more modern, and it looks so good on the models, but I think that would be really hard for me to wear. I don't know. Although I've never tried really short hair. Maybe I'd love it. Who knows? But anyway, and then with the dresses in the 40s, I really love the drape of them, because they're not super drapey. They're not straight up and down like the 20s or the 30s, but they have a little bit of drape, and they have a little bit more hourglass flattering shapes. My husband and I recently watched a Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall movie, The Big Sleep, and her dresses in that movie are just gorgeous. I was watching, one of my favorite movies from 1940s is Laura. If you've never seen it, I think you can rent it on Amazon Prime. It's so good. It's got, oh my gosh, it's got some of my favorite actors from the 1940s. It's got Vincent Price when he was super young. It has Dana Andrews, who was the male lead in the movie State Fair, which I also love, also from the 40s. I think Jean Tierney is the actress who plays the lead, and she's beautiful and wears gorgeous dresses, and her apartment in the movie is beautiful. So anyway, highly recommend that if you're looking for something fun and vintage from the 1940s. I would say that's a great movie. One of my favorite movies from childhood through today was filmed in 1940, and that's Rebecca. I've mentioned it before, and it's a early Alfred Hitchcock movie. So good. And the dresses, gorgeous. So yeah, I think if I actually had to pick, I think I would choose the 1940s. And then my second runner-up would be the 50s. So anyway, that was a long tangent, but that is just the second half of my brain cleaning up thoughts from the conversation I introduced last podcast. So anyway, yes, I think that's all I have for creative content. As far as like news and what's going on lately, my husband and I have been really into going out to parks and playing just silly games and sports. We are both like, we met in choir and band in high school. Well, actually, that's when we hung out. together. We actually met even earlier than that. But anyway, we're basically music nerds and book people and normally stay inside most of the time. But because of all this self-isolation and the human need for balance, we've become people that love going out to parks and playing sports, which is so funny. If you've known me for a long time, you'd be very surprised to hear me say that. So anyway, we bought a Frisbee and a soccer ball, and that was really fun. And we've been exploring local parks in the area. But my favorite sport of all time is badminton. And we recently bought badminton rackets. And so I think I mentioned this last podcast. I apologize for the redundancy. But so fun because we bought the badminton rackets. The day they arrived, I literally ran over them because I didn't see them. They were in a box this big and it was like this thick, and it was put right out front of our garage. And so I totally didn't see it because it was basically the same color as the driveway. Anyway, so I ran over them, realized it, ran back over them, got out, opened the box, and they were fine. So anyway, even though they had an ominous beginning, they've given us lots of hours of fun after, because we've now taken them to 2 different parks, played badminton, and we look silly, but we have a great time. And then my favorite was a couple nights ago. It was kind of too windy to go out. It's been crazy windy here. There was like a wind advisory over the whole state. Anyway, so not a great time to go out with your new badminton rackets and shuttles. So we actually moved all the furniture in our main floor and covered the TV with a blanket so it couldn't get scratched, moved kind of all the breakable stuff, and we played indoors for like an hour and a half, and it was so fun. And I think that is my favorite memory of this whole isolation experience, and all the time at home and all the different ways of being creative to try and enjoy being home when you really can't go out with friends or anything. And that was probably my favorite random thing that we've done. Was turning the main floor of our house into a badminton court. So that was a lot of fun. I think that was really a good use of our house. It's like, you know, your home is where you can also do weird things and play. So why not turn it into a badminton court when you feel like it? Anyway, so that was fun. Not too much has been going on other than that. Like I said, I haven't really been reading a lot of books. I'm still working through the Anne of Green Gables series. But I have been on that 1940s movies kick. So I do recommend checking those out. If you have favorite old movies, please leave them in the comments below. I am so hungry for more 1940s films, or 1930s or 50s, anywhere in there. I just watched South Pacific. I love Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals, and I just watched South Pacific for the first time, and that was really fun. I watched State Fair, which I mentioned earlier, which is a good one. But yeah, so just hanging out, enjoying home, and yeah, I hope you're having a great creative week. Hopefully things are keeping you inspired, and hopefully you're doing well. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. If you enjoy this channel and all my crafty babbleness, please like and subscribe, and that would be great. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope you have an awesome week. I will see you soon, and hopefully have more things to show. So until then, bye-bye.